Hello and welcome. This is Notibot ENG. I'm your anchor, Name. In today's news recap, we're bringing you key updates on a rapidly changing global landscape. The Bank of England is expected to hold interest rates as it navigates the impact of escalating tensions with Iran. Meanwhile, South Korea is reorienting its foreign policy to prioritize strategic autonomy. Oil prices have surged past $120 a barrel, and Turkey has emerged as an unexpected beneficiary of the conflict. We'll break down these stories and more in our 10 to 12-minute news summary. As global markets continue to grapple with escalating tensions in the Middle East, the Bank of England is set to make a crucial interest rate decision. The Bank of England is expected to maintain its interest rates on hold as policymakers assess the economic impact of the ongoing Iran war. The decision comes amid concerns that the conflict could lead to higher inflation and disrupt global energy supplies. Iran's effective closure of the Strait of Hormuz, a crucial waterway through which nearly 20% of the world's crude oil passes, has already had a significant impact on energy markets. The move by Tehran has led to a surge in oil prices, with Brent crude reaching its highest level since 2018 earlier this month. The Bank of England's Monetary Policy Committee is expected to keep interest rates at 3.75%, with one or two members possibly voting for a quarter-point hike as a precautionary measure against higher inflation. Economists say the decision will be closely watched, with many expecting an increase in interest rates in the months ahead if the conflict puts upward pressure on UK inflation. The war has already upended the Bank of England's predictions and wider global economic forecasts. Inflation was predicted to fall back towards its 2% target during the spring, but the conflict has led to a sharp increase in prices at the pump. The bank's quarterly economic projections, due to be published on Thursday, are likely to show raised inflation forecasts and lowered growth predictions. The decision will be closely watched by investors and economists, who will also be paying attention to the bank's quarterly economic projections and subsequent news conference led by Governor Andrew Bailey. As South Korea shifts its focus away from traditional alliances, Seoul is reevaluating its diplomatic priorities to secure long-term strategic independence. South Korea's strategic autonomy takes center stage amid global turmoil. In a bid to assert its independence in an increasingly complex geopolitical landscape, South Korean President Lee Jae-myung has unveiled a new southward pivot strategy aimed at securing strategic autonomy for the country. This move comes as tensions between major powers continue to escalate, with far-reaching consequences for global trade, energy supplies, and governance. President Lee's administration has taken a pragmatic approach to diplomacy, prioritizing national interests while maintaining alliances. The South Korean leader has engaged in intensive summit diplomacy, meeting counterparts at key international forums such as the G7, United Nations, and G20. This effort culminated in successfully hosting the APEC summit earlier this year. The significance of South Korea's southward pivot cannot be overstated. As a crucial player in regional geopolitics, Seoul's actions will have far-reaching implications for the Asia-Pacific region. The country's strategic autonomy is seen as a necessary hedge against the growing influence of major powers, particularly China and the United States. Critics argue that previous initiatives, such as the New Southern Policy and Indo-Pacific Strategy, failed to deliver on their promises. However, President Lee's administration appears to have taken a more nuanced approach, recognizing the need for pragmatism in an increasingly complex world. The real test of this strategy lies in its ability to build the necessary foundations for success, rather than simply appearing bold. As South Korea navigates this new landscape, its actions will be closely watched by regional and global players alike. The global energy landscape has taken a dramatic turn as oil prices surge past $120 a barrel following President Trump's warning on Iran's maritime trade routes. Oil markets have been shaken by a significant spike in prices after U.S. President Donald Trump warned that the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports could last for months. The price of Brent oil has surged above $126 a barrel, its highest level since 2022, as tensions between the U.S. and Iran continue to escalate. The U.S. Navy blockade, which was imposed on January 1st, has been maintained despite efforts by both sides to reach a peaceful resolution. Trump's comments, made in a meeting with oil executives, suggest that he is willing to extend the blockade indefinitely if necessary. Iranian officials have responded by keeping the Strait of Hormuz all but shut to other oil tankers, which has significantly impacted global oil supplies. According to Oxford Economics, a 6-month impasse in the strait could send oil prices as high as $190 by August. Economist Paul Krugman warns that most analysts have been far too sanguine about the effects of a prolonged Hormuz crisis, predicting a higher likelihood of a full-on global recession. The stakes are high for the global economy, with many analysts warning of significant price increases and potential shortages of oil. The U.S. is heavily reliant on Iranian oil imports, and any disruption to supply lines could have serious consequences. With peace talks set to fail once again over the weekend in Islamabad, it seems that the situation remains at a stalemate. As the situation continues to unfold, one thing is clear: the future of global energy markets hangs in the balance. The actions taken by Trump and Iranian officials will have far-reaching implications for economies around the world. In a remarkable display of strategic maneuvering, Turkey has emerged as a key beneficiary of the ongoing Iran-Israel conflict, without ever having to engage in direct combat. The Pakistan-led quartet of Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Pakistan has emerged as a key player in mediating the conflict between Iran and its neighbors. The group convened on March 29th in Islamabad to coordinate de-escalation efforts, with Turkey taking a central role in facilitating dialogue between the parties. In the months leading up to the talks, Turkey had been actively engaged in shuttle diplomacy, prodding both Iran and the U.S. to find common ground. According to Reuters, Ankara played a key role as a go-between for messages between the two sides, probing U.S. positions while warning Tehran against widening the conflict. This behind-the-scenes effort has lent credibility to Turkey's mediation efforts, with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen publicly endorsing Ankara's role on March 1st. The Pakistan-led quartet's success is also due in part to its perceived neutrality, which has allowed it to build trust with all parties involved. Turkey's active neutrality approach has been a deliberate strategy designed to distance itself from Tehran while still maintaining good relations with regional powers. This stance has paid off, as the group's talks have led to a fragile but holding ceasefire in the region. The implications of this development are significant, as it marks a major shift in Turkey's role on the global stage. By emerging as a key mediator, Ankara has cemented its position as a major player in regional diplomacy, with diplomatic centrality and right of access now firmly within its grasp. According to reports from Washington, President Trump has reiterated his administration's stance on a contentious maritime dispute with Iran in the Persian Gulf region. Good evening, I'm your name, and this is your news recap. A tense standoff between the U.S. and Iran has been ongoing for months, with tensions escalating over the Strait of Hormuz, a critical waterway that controls much of the world's oil supply. President Donald Trump has announced that he will not lift the naval blockade on Iranian ports until he secures a deal with Tehran to address the country's nuclear program. According to Axios, which reported directly to Trump, he made this statement in an interview with the online news site. The U.S. and Iran have been at odds since last year when the U.S. withdrew from the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, a nuclear deal that was negotiated between world powers and Iran in 2015. The blockade has had significant economic consequences for Iran, which relies heavily on oil exports to generate revenue. However, Trump insists that he will not lift the blockade until Iran agrees to certain conditions, including a reduction in its military capabilities and a halt to its development of ballistic missiles. This standoff matters globally, as the Strait of Hormuz is one of the most critical choke points in global energy supply chains. The U.S. has been working closely with regional allies to build up naval presence in the region in response to perceived threats from Iran. With tensions running high, the international community is watching this situation closely to avoid any further escalation that could lead to a wider conflict. That's all for today's recap. We'll continue to monitor these developing stories and bring you updates as more information becomes available. Thank you for watching. If you want to stay up to date on the latest news, please subscribe to our channel and follow us on social media. We'll see you in the next video.